What if everything we know about human history is only a fragment of the truth? Beneath layers of sand, beneath the waves of forgotten oceans, and behind veils of myth lie the echoes of civilizations far more advanced and far more spiritually awakened than we've ever imagined. These were cultures that understood the stars not only as physical bodies, but as mirrors of the soul. They carved stone not just for shelter, but to encode cosmic truths. Their temples were not only places of worship, but machines of resonance energy and transformation. From the jungles of South America to the deserts of Egypt and deep into the ruins of Asia and the Middle East, pieces of this ancient puzzle remain mysterious artifacts, impossible architecture, symbols that speak a language older than words. Who were these people? What did they know that we've forgotten? And more importantly, why did their knowledge disappear? Or was it hidden on purpose? In this video, we embark on a journey through time, not the time written in textbooks, but the deep time of human consciousness. We'll explore lost civilizations like Atlantis, Lemuria, the builders of Göbekli Tepe, the Olmecs, and the mysterious ancient Egyptians before the dynasties. And as we piece together their forgotten wisdom, a deeper pattern begins to emerge, a unifying code of spiritual insight, cosmic alignment, and human potential waiting to be reawakened. Let's begin with the most famous lost civilization of them all, Atlantis. Atlantis has captured the imagination of humanity for over 2,000 years, ever since Plato described it as a vast and powerful empire that sank beneath the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. For centuries, Atlantis was dismissed as pure myth. But recent geological and archaeological findings are forcing us to reconsider. Ancient maps show land masses where there are now only oceans. Megalithic ruins have been found on submerged seabeds. Even satellite images reveal strange formations buried under ice or sand structures too symmetrical, too precise to be natural. But what made Atlantis truly extraordinary was not just its advanced technology, it was their spiritual science. According to esoteric traditions, the Atlanteans were masters of vibration and frequency. They used sound to move objects' harmonics, to heal the body, and consciousness to access interdimensional knowledge. Their society was built around alignment with natural law, the law of rhythm, polarity, and oneness. Some believe that before their fall, the high priests of Atlantis encoded their teachings into symbols and structures scattered across the earth, preparing for a time when humanity would be ready to remember. Could the pyramids of Egypt, the labyrinths of Crete, and the step temples of Mesoamerica be part of that ancient legacy? Our next stop, Lemuria, the Forgotten Mother, civilization of the Pacific, said to have existed thousands of years before Atlantis. The Lemurians, according to mystical traditions, were not builders of stone, but keepers of heart-based consciousness. They communicated through emotion and intuition, living in harmony with Earth and the elemental forces. Unlike Atlantis, which eventually fell into corruption and power struggles, Lemuria is remembered as a civilization of light, where telepathy, collective healing, and unity consciousness were the norm. But as Lemuria faded into the mists of myth, much of its wisdom was preserved in the temples of ancient India, Tibet, and Polynesia. The concept of chakras, energy meridians, and sacred geometry is believed to be part of that lineage. And today, many spiritual seekers feel a deep soul memory of Lemuria, an inner pull toward the heart, toward stillness, and toward the sacred feminine energies rising once again in our time. As we move forward in this journey, we'll uncover more of these ancient echoes, hidden teachings, not just about how to live, but how to awaken. Göbekli Tepe, memory of a time we forgot. If there's one site on Earth that forces us to rewrite human history, it's Göbekli Tepe. Situated on a hilltop in modern-day Turkey, this mysterious complex of massive T-shaped stone pillars was deliberately buried and only rediscovered in the 1990s. Carbon dating places its construction at over 11,000 years ago, thousands of years before Stonehenge or the Egyptian pyramids. That fact alone breaks the foundation of everything we've been taught, that humans at the time were only hunter-gatherers, incapable of architecture, of astronomy, or organized ritual. Yet here we are staring at an intricately designed megalithic site and aligned with celestial bodies and adorned with carvings of animal symbols and geometric precision that hint at a far deeper understanding of life in the cosmos. These weren't primitive people. These were skywatchers, engineers, shamans, guardians of a knowledge older than civilization itself. What's more mysterious is that Göbekli Tepe was not destroyed by time but buried intentionally as if to protect it from a coming cataclysm, or perhaps to preserve it for a future generation. Ours. Who built it? Where did they go? And what did they know about the heavens, the soul, and the cycles of earth that we've forgotten? It's no longer just a question of age. It's a question of awareness. Göbekli Tepe hints that advanced spiritual understanding existed in prehistory and that the rise of civilization wasn't linear, it was a return from amnesia. Sumerdom, the first civilization, or just the first remembered. In school, we're told that Sumer was the first civilization emerging suddenly in Mesopotamia, with writing laws, astronomy, and monumental architecture. But how does a civilization just appear, fully formed without any trace of evolution? The Sumerians themselves claimed they were taught by beings from the stars known as the Anunnaki, who came down from the heavens and gifted humanity with knowledge. On ancient clay tablets, they described flying machines, cosmic battles, and genetic engineering. Not metaphorically, but with the tone of history. These records weren't myths to them. They were memory. The Anunnaki were not just gods, they were teachers, engineers of matter, guardians of cosmic order. Whether literal or symbolic, their stories reveal a profound understanding of humanity's potential and its manipulation. And perhaps these beings weren't visitors from outer space in the sci-fi sense, but from another frequency, another realm of consciousness. What's striking is that many concepts we now associate with later esoteric systems like chakras, sacred geometry, or astrology can be traced back to Sumerian thought. The tree of life, the divine feminine, the spiral of time, all were present. It's as if Sumer wasn't the beginning, but a reawakening, a rebirth of an even older forgotten light. Pre-dynastic Egypt. When gods walked among men. Everyone knows the pyramids, the pharaohs, the tombs, but fewer know about what came before. Ancient Egyptian priests spoke of Zep Tepi the first time, when the gods themselves walked the earth and taught humans the principles of divine order, cosmic harmony, and spiritual ascension. Modern Egyptology often dismisses these accounts as myths. But what if they're not? What if the Great Pyramid of Giza wasn't a tomb but a power plant? Not in the electrical sense, but in the vibrational, energetic, even consciousness-enhancing sense. The precise geometry, the alignment to true north, the speed of light encoded into its dimensions. These are not accidents. Long before the dynasties, there was a civilization in Egypt that knew how to awaken the human spirit. The priesthood of that age, keepers of the mystery schools trained, initiates in sacred science, how to activate the pineal gland, how to use sound for healing, how to travel through dimensions of consciousness. Their goal wasn't power or wealth, it was transformation. This knowledge, known as the Hermetic tradition, would later influence Greek philosophy, Christian mysticism, alchemy, and even modern quantum thought. And yet its roots lie in temples far older than we can imagine, temples now buried, eroded, or misidentified by a world that forgot how to read spiritual architecture. The ancient Egyptians didn't build to impress. They built to encode. Every wall, every symbol, every measurement was a message. And it was meant not for their time, but for ours, when humanity would again seek its place among the stars. The Olmecs and the Maya timekeepers of the cosmic pulse, long before the Aztecs, long before the Spanish conquests, and even before the towering pyramids of Tikal and Chichen Itza, there existed an ancient people shrouded in mystery, the Olmecs. Often referred to as the mother culture of Mesoamerica, the Olmecs appeared suddenly just like Sumer and Egypt, with no clear developmental stages behind them. Their art calendar systems and colossal stone heads suggest not only advanced craftsmanship, but a profound awareness of cosmology and the human soul. One of the greatest enigmas of the Olmec legacy is their precise understanding of astronomical cycles. They track the movement of Venus, the moon eclipses, and solar alignments with astonishing accuracy. Their knowledge of time was not linear, but cyclical, a spiraling dance of beginnings and endings, births and deaths, sunrises and rebirths. This cyclical view would later evolve and expand through their cultural descendants, the Maya. The Maya took this ancient wisdom and brought it to new heights. They weren't just architects of stone temples. They were architects of time itself. Their long count calendar, which famously pointed to 2012 as the end of a great cycle, wasn't about apocalypse, but transformation. To the Maya, time was alive. Each day held a unique energy, a purpose, a resonance. The sacred Zolkin calendar mapped the invisible forces shaping human consciousness, while their Hob calendar tracked the Earth's revolution with uncanny accuracy. How could a so-called primitive culture possess such refined astronomical and spiritual insight? Modern researchers have tried to explain it away with trial and error observation. But the depth of their systems, their correlation with galactic cycles, the precession of the equinoxes and alignments with the Pleiades and galactic center suggests something more, a downloaded knowledge, a memory carried across generations, or perhaps teachings received from beings who saw the universe not as chaos, but as sacred order. The Maya believed that time could be tuned into like music. They taught that humans could live in alignment with the pulse of the cosmos, and that this alignment would unlock higher consciousness, deeper empathy, and a return to unity with the earth. The collapse of the Maya civilization remains a mystery, but their teachings persist. Etched into stone, whispered through glyphs, and reawakened now by those who are listening. If time is a living spirit, then perhaps the Maya were its translators, and we are the ones now rediscovering the language. Ancient India, the alchemists of inner realms. Now we move eastward to a land whose sacred texts have survived not just time, but global forgetting. India, home to the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the ancient science of yoga, holds a mirror to civilizations that didn't just look outward, but deeply inward. Before the rise of empires, before Buddhism and Hinduism took shape, there existed a lineage of sages known as the Rishi Seers, who claimed to receive divine knowledge not through logic, but through direct inner experience. This wasn't knowledge acquired, it was remembered. The Vedas, said to be heard rather than written, speak of flying machines, Vimana's cosmic cycles called yugas, and subtle energies that flow through the human system, what modern science is only beginning to grasp. But perhaps the most revolutionary concept from ancient India is Atman, the soul, the inner self, and its inseparable connection to Brahman, the universal consciousness. Unlike Western models that separate man from God, the Indian sages taught that the divine is within. That liberation or moksha is not a place but a state of realization that all is one. Their yogic sciences were not mere exercise, they were methods of alchemical transformation. Through breath, pranayama, sound mantra postures, asana, and meditation, dhyana, the human system could be purified, activated, and awakened. Chakras weren't metaphors, they were maps. The kundalini energy, coiled like a serpent at the base of the spine, was seen as the gateway to higher realms and even immortality when fully activated. Ancient Indian temples were not merely religious sites. Their structured geometry and placement were designed to channel energy, just like pyramids, ziggurats, and stone circles in other parts of the world. A global pattern begins to emerge: sacred architecture as technology for the soul. India's gift to the world is this: the inner world is as vast, as structured, and as mysterious as the cosmos. And by turning inward, we gain the keys to transform not just ourselves, but the entire human story. Ancient China, the alchemists of the Tao and the secret of immortality. While the West was charting the outer world, ancient China was exploring the inner landscape, mapping energy flows, studying cycles, and seeking a harmony between heaven, earth, and humanity. Rooted in the teachings of Taoism, Chinese spiritual tradition speaks not of conquering nature, but of aligning with its rhythm. The Tao, or the Way, is the invisible current that flows through all things, and to follow it is to live in balance with the cosmos. But within this philosophy lay a deeper pursuit, one whispered through mountain hermits, ancient scrolls, and secret temples: the path of immortality. Taoist sages weren't just philosophers, they were scientists of spirit. They studied the movement of qi life force energy, observed the heavens, understood the elements, and practiced methods to transmute the mortal into the eternal. The practice of Naden, or internal alchemy, taught how to refine one's essence energy and spirit into a unified immortal consciousness. Through meditative breathing, sexual energy, cultivation, visualization, and diet, Taoist adepts believed one could reverse aging, attain spiritual clarity, and even transcend death, not by escaping the body, but by perfecting it. In hidden caves and mountaintop sanctuaries, they worked not with machines, but with vibration, intention, and the delicate forces within the human form. Their temples, like the temples of India and Egypt, were aligned to celestial cycles. Their Bagua diagrams and I Ching patterns mirrored the changing forces of nature and consciousness itself. The microcosm and macrocosm were one. The body was the universe in miniature. This belief wasn't poetry, it was practice. Taoist immortals, as recorded in legend, were not seen as myth but as masters, those who had unlocked the secret code of the universe, written in breath, stillness, and form. And while modern China has buried many of these ancient arts beneath layers of modernization, the essence remains, carried by quiet lineages and rediscovered by those seeking truth beyond form. The hidden teaching of China: the body is a temple and nature is the greatest teacher. When we stop forcing and start flowing, the gates of immortality begin to open, not in the sky, but in the quiet stillness within. Easter Island and Nan Madol whispers from the sea, art across the Pacific on isolated islands, surrounded by vast oceans, lie two more pieces of the ancient puzzle, enigmatic remnants of civilizations that seem entirely out of place and out of time. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is known for its massive moai statues, stone heads, with elongated features, some weighing over 80 tons. Carved and transported across volcanic terrain without wheels or metal tools, their construction baffles modern engineers. But perhaps more important than how they were built is why. These figures were not merely guardians, they were conduits. According to oral traditions, they channeled mana, the spiritual energy of the land and ancestors. The Rapa Nui people once lived in balance, guided by a deep spiritual cosmology and reverence for the earth. But over time, something shifted. Resources dwindled, conflict arose, and the knowledge of the old ways was lost or hidden. What if Easter Island was a last outpost of an older world, a remnant of Lemuria, a memory anchored in stone? Not far away, hidden in the waters of Micronesia, lies Nan Madol, a city of massive basalt blocks floating on coral in the Pacific Ocean. Built from over 750,000 tons of rock, this megalithic marvel seems impossible for its time. No known culture on these islands had the technology to build it, yet it stands like a forgotten Atlantis, whispering a forgotten story. Legends speak of priests who levitated the stones into place using sound. The city was said to be a place of initiation, of mystery, of communion with the stars. But today it lies abandoned, silent, except for the sea and the wind. Why was it built? Why was it abandoned? And why do so few speak of it? Together, Easter Island and Nan Madol tell us this: even in the farthest corners of Earth, humanity once carried a unified language of energy, spirit, and stone. The sacred thread, a hidden language shared across the ancient world. When we step back and look at all these ancient cultures, Atlantis, Lemuria, Göbekli Tepe, Sumer, Egypt, the Maya, ancient India, Taoist China, Easter Island, and Nan Madol, we begin to see something profound. Despite being scattered across continents and millennia, despite being separated by oceans, climates, and languages, they all seem to share the same foundation. They all built with the stars in mind, aligning their temples, pyramids, and monuments with solstices, equinoxes, and celestial bodies. They all spoke of energy, whether chi, prana, mana, or ka, an unseen life force flowing through both the earth and the human body. They all created symbol systems, spirals, serpents, sacred geometry, and cosmic trees that mirrored both the heavens and the inner spiritual path. They all revered sound, frequency, and vibration using chants, mantras, drums, flutes, gongs, or spoken incantations, not simply for worship, but to alter consciousness, heal the body, and transmit knowledge. And they all pointed toward the same thing: that we are not merely physical beings struggling through a material world. We are eternal souls woven into the fabric of the cosmos, capable of transformation, ascension, and profound unity with the divine. But perhaps the most important link across these ancient teachings is this: they all warned of a fall, a decline in consciousness, a forgetting, a descent into darkness and materialism. And they all in some form prepared for the return, for a future era when humanity would remember. That time, according to many prophecies and traditions, is now. Why their teachings were hidden and why they're returning now. So why was all this knowledge lost or hidden? Why do our history books tell a version of the past that ignores these clues? Because true spiritual knowledge is not something that can be forced. It must be earned, remembered, and integrated. When humanity fell into cycles of war, greed, and disconnection, much of this wisdom had to be protected, buried in symbol, myth, and architecture, until a time came when we could carry it again. This wasn't a loss. It was a seed planted deep in the collective soul. Today, as more people awaken to the illusions of modern life, as they seek meaning beyond materialism, and listen to the quiet whispers of the earth and their own hearts, that seed is sprouting. We're feeling drawn to sacred sites. We're studying ancient symbols. We're remembering practices we never formally learned. The lost wisdom is not lost, it's coded into our DNA, waiting for the right vibration to activate it. We are not just learning about these ancient civilizations. We are awakening to what they once knew and who we truly are. The hidden teachings, what they really wanted us to know. So what ultimately were these ancient people trying to teach us? You are a soul, not a body. Your true nature is eternal and multidimensional. 2. The universe is consciousness, alive, intelligent, and responsive. It speaks through intuition, synchronicity, dreams, and vibration. 3. Everything is connected. The stars, the earth, your body, your emotions, they are all mirrors of one another. 4. The body is a temple. Within it lies the key to transformation, healing, and awakening. 5. Sound, light, geometry, and intention are the tools of creation. They can open gates, shift realities, and awaken dormant energy. 6. The purpose of life is evolution, not just biologically, but spiritually. You are here to remember who you are, to awaken the divine within, and to help heal the planet. 7. Time is not linear. History is a spiral. What once was will return, and we are the bridge between the ancient and the future. These teachings are not just philosophy. They are technology, spiritual technology. And when practiced with integrity, humility, and love, they can shift not only your life, but the future of humanity. The journey ahead. We are the reawakening. So where does that leave us? We are the ones the ancient texts whispered about, the ones they prepared the temples for, the ones they encoded messages for in stone star charts and sacred chants. We are living in the time of remembering, not just remembering facts, but remembering the feeling of being whole, aligned, and awake. The ancient world is not behind us, it's within us. Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, the Maya. They are not myths of the past. They are memories of our soul. And as we walk this new path of awakening, we are not stepping into something new, we are returning home. This is more than a video. This is a call to listen deeper, to remember what you've always known, to look beyond what history tells you and feel what your intuition whispers. Because the universe is still speaking. The stones still hum, the stars still sing, and you are finally beginning to hear.